Hey guys, let's see if I can get this closer. Hi, everyone. I'm here with the vinyl update. Wasn't expecting to do one, but I'm doing one anyways. So sorry, hold on 1 second here. As usual, I'm having all kinds of problems with my. I never get the setup just right. So there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Um, yeah, I got a vinyl update here for you. This is stuff I've acquired for the last few weeks. Probably the last 2 or 3 weeks since I did my Spooky Empire, which I got a lot of views for that. Thank you for watching those. I love to do more like DVD hauls and stuff like that, but there's only so many conventions, and I don't buy stuff online like a lot, so that's why. But let's get into it. Yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys real quick the stuff I picked up from Sarasota. So I went to Sarasota last weekend and did a just kind of a. I wanted to go out of town, and I was going to go to St. Pete's, and I still want to go there, but that probably would be around Christmas. But I just wanted to do a vinyl update that was different, and showed from different stores. And so I went to two stores in St. Pete. And the first one is right here. It's from the place called Vinyl Vault, which I've heard of this store but never went into. And I finally decided to take the plunge, so to speak. So, yeah. So I'll just show you what I got in there for starters. So I got a few cassettes, which is weird, but I did. And this one says Xanadu on it. These cassettes were like $3 a piece. I was more than happy to get them there. And what's the other one? Falstaff. Falstaff was a Shakespeare. If you can see the Falstaff, there you can. Maybe Falstaff was a Shakespeare. He showed up in what, Henry the Sixth, and a merchant in Venice is a character in a Shakespeare thing. I'm not sure if there was a. You can see the false. I didn't know if there, for sure, if there was a sort of thing with that, like a play or opera. I'm assuming there probably was. Sorry. I'm assuming there probably was, but I don't know 100% for sure. There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that. I'm always fucking around with that. But yeah, so 2 blank cassettes. I don't know what's in them. I got 2 CDs. The CDs were actually more than the fucking albums. I don't want to really shit on Vinyl Vault. It's a good store, but it's not cheap. You can get discounted items in there. You can get $5, but it's not cheap. It's like a store where like you have to sort of be okay with what you're gonna get. Like knowing that you could spend a lot of money in there, and obviously there's some discounted items in there, but this one I thought was really interesting. This was Steve Miller Band, and this is Wide River, going back to 1992. Steve Miller Band. I knew he made some records in the 90s and 2000s, but I've never heard anything that he did this late in his, obviously going on almost 3 decades in the music business at this point. Well, 25 years probably. And this is pretty good. It's definitely, I thought it was going to be like very bluesy, pedestrian, as artists get that way when they get older. They kind of slow it down a bit. But this sounds like typical Steve Miller. Like it's not really that far off from his sort of, off kilter sometimes, psychedelic sometimes, bluesy sometimes, kind of quirky at times. But there's a few really good songs on here. Circle Fire, uh, Wide River's cool. Midnight Train. There's some good tracks on here, and I'm a big fan of Steve Miller, so I saw it, I'm buying it. And this one was $10, and I was like, ugh, you know what? Fuck it, I'll splurge. This is Polvo with today's active lifestyles. Now, this is what their second album, pretty early on in their discography, second or third album, and I believe this band is from North Carolina, and very much it is true. Although I think this band's a little bit more unglued per se, but there is definitely a not influence necessarily, I would say, but definitely a style akin to Pavement. But this band is a little noisy. Well, Pavement's noisy, a little bit more off kiltered, I'd say. It's good indie rock from the early '90s. This is on the Merge label. This early '90s alternative rock, I will spend a little bit more on because it's harder to find on CD or vinyl. So, yeah, that was a no-brainer on that one. So, all right. So albums, I picked up a handful of albums from there, and we'll see what's in here. Hopefully, there's something in here that you guys will enjoy. For sure. I know I will. I hope. I hope. I hope. It's hot in this room. This light on. I don't have the fan on, so it's brutal in here for me. I have this camera at an angle, so if it seems weird, it's because it's actually best shot at this angle. This is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Look at that cover. Actually, I'm going to move this camera back just a tinge bit. I feel almost claustrophobic. Oh, much better. Hunchback of Notre Dame by disco arranger and composer Alex Costandinos and his symphonic orchestra. Yes, it's disco. I just thought it was cool. It's on the Casablanca label. I knew what I was getting myself into. 78 release. Yeah, I think I want to say he worked. Yeah, he did work on the a few songs on the Thank God It's Friday soundtrack. Alex Constandinos worked on some of those songs on, like I said, Thank God on Friday, which is so cheesy. The movie is and the soundtrack is too. So disco cheese, I'm sure. I'm sure of that. I guess it doesn't really matter what order I put these in, so I'll just put these. Well, what the hell? This is the New Age sampler. New Age American Music Volume 2, 3 avant-garde composers, Stefan Wolf, German composer, I believe, Wolf, Seymour Schifrin, and George Rochberg. And they're all kind of different in a way from each other. Rochberg much more still into tonality and like that kind of stuff, like structured classical music to an extent, although with some avant-garde feel. Definitely, Stefan Wolpe is the most, or Wolpe is the most probably avant-garde of the three here, and he was definitely into atonality and what do they call it, contrapuntal measures or whatever. I'm not really understanding classical forms very well, like other definitions. And Seymour Schifrin, I thought that this piece was good too. This piece is Satires of Circumstance. That's kind of operatic and very, very, very avant-garde too, with a mezzo soprano of Jan De Gaetani. So these are kind of interesting. I love stuff on Nonesuch. I love like sort of, you know, like the fact that they do like sort of avant-garde stuff. I'm going to try to move this camera over just a little bit more. There we go. Wow, we are really in business now. This is just really interesting. Classical from the 20th century, and I love this kind of stuff. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. This record I thought was kind of interesting, and this is where the owner was kind of fucking getting on my nerves a little bit because he was like, well, you got that in the $5 section? Because they have a $5 section and an upper individually priced. I said yes. And this is Mass. This is actually a mass choir or mass piece written by Leonard Bernstein. And if you know Leonard Bernstein, this is a 2-record set, a 32-page booklet with complete text. It's a theater piece for singers, players, and dancers. The text is from a liturgy of the Roman Mass. Additional text by Stephen Schwartz and Leonard Bernstein. So Bernstein doing a mass here, actually writing parts of this too. It's kind of, like I'm used to his like doing like Schubert or Beethoven or whoever he does, like wholeheartedly Berlioz. I think he did Berlioz, Brahms, all these composers with a very emotionally heartfelt sort of powerful performance by Bernstein's orchestras. His direction is terrific, very emotive and very passionate man. And so this to me has the little bit I actually heard has some avant-garde elements to it, which I thought was kind of interesting, and some also like like choral works, like that kind of thing, and some symphonic, like even theatrical parts of it. This is probably one of the more abnormal things I've heard by Leonard Bernstein. Although I don't know his whole like classical works or anything like that. This is the one where the guy's like, "You got there for $5," and I'm like, "Oh my god, yes!" And it's a good store. I don't want to really, but there was a few instances where I bought records in there, and he goes, "You sure you got that in the $5 section? That should have been more." And I'm like, "I'm not paying more for it. I'm sorry, you didn't organize your collection good enough." But so I'll go back. But when you start doing that kind of shit, it's just like you're taking yourself right out of business. It's like, oh my god, So give me a break. This one is kind of interesting. This is the Norman Greenbaum with the Doctor. What is this? Dr. West Medicine Show and Junk Band. So Norman Greenbaum, of course, had that big hit "Spirit in the Sky." All these records were $5, by the way. This on the Gregor label. This is folk rock, psychedelic to I would say a very very little bit of an extent, catchy kind of almost folk rock with some psychedelic touches in there, and it's not bad. It's really not bad at all. Some of these songs I almost got that holy sort of traditional folk sound, and some of it's more like 60s kind of Bob Dylan folky kind of thing, or Arlo Guthrie, or not Arlo, Donovan sort of esque kind of thing, but pretty good. Of course, Norman Greenbaum had the big hit "Spirit in the Sky." I've been looking for that album. I actually had that years back, and I was like stunned by how good it was. I'll keep that for last. Boom, ba, ba, boom, Billy Vaughn. That's right, Billy Vaughn and "Windmills of Your Mind." So this is overpriced for starters. Should be really like $1, but I overpaid for this, I think. But this is the kind of thing you would find in like a Goodwill store, and I'm paying $5 for it. I'm like puzzled by it on the Dot label. So if I wanted to resell this, I'm not going to sell it for $10. I'm going to sell it for $1, and I'm going to take a loss, and I will resell this. But look at that cover. It's very cool. Billy Vaughn is easy listening classical pop music from the 60s. And so when I say pop, it's pop like in the same way Henry Mancini is, or Paul Marriott is, or Percy Faith is. It's not pop in the way you would think. It's pop as in it was played on the radio. Some of the stuff was played on the radio. And Billy Vaughn is really cool. I really like his stuff. And I love it when composers like this are easy listening guys, like Hugo Montenegro is another one, Andre Previn, when they kind of go out, and Stanley Black, and they do something that's like trying to be modern or hip, and that's exactly it with this, with him doing pieces by Of course, the Windmills of Your Mind is from the. Of course, I mean, the Windmills of Your Mind is actually sung from the Thomas Crown Affair, but you have time of the season on here. Of course, the Zombies and Wichita Linemen. Promises. Uh, yeah. So a few like modern hits. Pretty. I love that cover. I had me on the cover, but easy listening stuff. I like it. I'll listen to it. I really do like it. It's usually much cheaper, but that time I didn't get lucky. This is John Fahey, the best of John Fahey. Now this was the steal of the day, and this is 1959 to 1977. Uh, a very very cultish esque and admired uh, guitar player who did a really strange sort of finger picking style, and it's become a favorite of hipsters and music fans all alike. I mean, anybody who likes the underground stuff or likes music that's a little bit more obscure. John Fahey has become kind of a cult hero in that way. It's really interesting that he has this on the Tacoma label, which is kind of, I think, defunct now. Tacoma. My first John Fahey was, I think I bought the Yellow Ribbon. Is that the name of that album? I think it is. And then I got the America album. I think it's called America or Americana, one of the two. La America, maybe. And I listened to those two a lot because it's kind of like easy listening, and it's guitar music. And I just remember really really appreciating John Fahey for kind of like the style and how cool it is to get into his music. It strangely has a very appealing nature for, like, you would think that this is the kind of music that more people would get into, but no, not so much. But yeah, John Fahey. And this was another record where the guy's like, well, that should have been more than $5. Twice I had this happen to me, and I'm like, look, I'm not ripping you off. It's in the $5 bin. I'm not paying more. Now, if you want to take it aside and sell it for more, go ahead. I don't really care. I understand why you would do that, but I'm not paying more than that. Just because your store is somewhat disorganized. It's like, give me a break. I shouldn't say disorganized, but like, obviously, he's probably working by himself. So, in all fairness to him, but it's just like twice that happened, and that was like too many times for me. The crazy Nina Hagen, and she is batshit. This is Universal Radio. This is a 12-inch single. It has the dance mix, album version, and dub. So it's just a single, CBS Records. I really don't like paying a lot of money for singles, but I kind of like Nina Hagen's getting on my good side, so I'm kind of buying her stuff when I see it. She's batshit. This is like dance music, but she's so fucking weird. Like, it's like dance music, but like when Grace Jones was bizarre. Like this is in almost that same sort of sense of like art rockish, sort of avant-garde-ish dance music. Like I heard her, like I heard an album by her called None Sex Music, I think. None Sex Music. And I was blown away by that. Blown away by that. So I've been on the hunt for Nina Hagen stuff. So fucking weird stuff. I mean, this has the same sort of like avant-garde feel of like a Lana Lovitch or even a Susie Sue, And the other person I think would be in that category is Daniel Dax. Yeah, this is a full-length album by hers. This is an absolute steal for $5. A promo copy of Dark Adapted Eye. Once again, Daniel Dax's earlier stuff had kind of a more of an electronic thing. This definitely does, but this definitely has a dance feel to it, a dance edge to it, and it really kind of surprised me in a way that it did on the Sire label. I am really beat tonight, guys. I'm really fucking tired, and I'm trying to get going today. Just really tired. Yes. Dancey, but still new wave. A little bit of an avant-garde feel to it, too. Art rockish sort of thing. Kind of sounds like late 80s Was it Lena Lovitch? I think I heard one of her late '80s albums, and it was really fucking good. And I think this. Sorry about that light. And this is very, very similar to that. All right, that should do it. So good stuff here, Daniel Dax. It is in that dance idiom. I do not know why that phone, why that light's doing that. God, what happens if I turn it off? Yeah, see, I gotta have it on. Damn it. All right. Well, we'll have to live with it. I can't put something on it, and it. Oh, there we go. Better. So yeah, and that was it for my haul at Vinyl Vault. And I really, it's worth going to. There's a lot of diversity into it. He's got a good store. I just, for me, it's like the minute you start trying to Jew me down on a $5 record, or not Jew me down, but like try to price it up, it's just like I'm not really knowing if I'm going to go back there or not, to be honest, because it was kind of disappointing. But it definitely is worth going there. It doesn't really have like a Vinyl Vault. It doesn't really have like a punk section per se, so or metal. So if you're looking just for older records, jazz, whatever, it's worth going into. Sarasota's a little high end for me. It's not like a place I would go back to. There's no volume buying unless you got like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The other store I stopped by there is Salty Dogs Records. Yes, the bag broke on me, but I've tried to keep everything in here so I can do this update. So this is a good little record store in Sarasota. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Some of the prices are cool. The discount bin is really like $5 for records. It has some cassettes. Has actually a really nice CD selection, and has a pretty nice punk collection. The punk collection was not bad, not great, but not bad. I've seen better punk collections, but overall the store had a lot of cool shit in it. The owner, really nice kid, really nice young man, I should say. So these are the things I bought from Salty Dog Records. And the only cassette I have for the whole show today, and I know some of that is going to bum you guys out, but Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. This one was $4. And this is a great record, the first record by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I really think this is something I would listen on cassette quite a bit. Of course, this has got the big hit, Relax, Two Tribes Go to War, Don't Know What They're Fighting For, is great on here. The title track, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, is terrific. Dance, rock, has art rock elements in parts of it, but it's dance, pop rock stuff, and it's quite good. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. They only made 2 albums. I've been looking for the follow-up album, Liverpool. I think they only made 2 albums. So, but I remember when Relax came out, I was like, holy shit. I knew that song was naughty back then, but yeah, the only cassette I have. 2 CDs. This one was cool because I don't really see their stuff. The very first Enough's Enough record on CD. This is really quite good. Lumped in with the hair metal bands of the time. This band was way more like, I don't know, like pop metal or power pop-ish. Great, sublime, like sort of Beatles-influenced melodies. Kind of psychedelic at times. Hard rock, I guess. Stuff. These guys were good. They had 2 big hits on here, New Thing and The Wonderful Flying High Michelle. I'm trying to think of the other songs on here. Like Finger on the Trigger's cool. That's kind of more heavy metal. She Wants More's good. In the Groove is a good song on here. It's good stuff. These guys were, yeah, if you were around, you remember these guys were lumped right into the heavy metal, hair metal kind of thing, and they were not. Is this 87 or 88? 89 this came out. I remember when this came out. And I remember buying Enough's Enough a record at a record store, and when I was living in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And the girl behind the record store, She was just annoying. But she thought because she was in a band and she listened to a lot of shoegaze, she goes, as I bought this Enough's Enough record, she goes, that's was something my brother would buy when he was like 12 years old. And I said to her, I don't give a fuck what you think. Ring me up is exactly what I said to her, and then she did. And then she stopped talking to me afterwards. What's her slang? Because she was like being patronizing about it. So I just shut that shit down as quick as fuck. So 1989, good stuff by Enough's Enough. Yeah, this girl was so full of herself. Like her band, they made a documentary on her band, and her band was the most successful band from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm not gonna say the name. You could probably figure it out if you're from there. But what a dumb bitch. What a dumb bitch. This one was $8, complete impulse buy. But I got it anyways. Bitches Brew, Miles Davis. I mean, I've had this multiple times on CD. I just thought it was a good deal. The fact that it was $8, because I've seen this CD go for a lot more money. And of course, this is Miles, unhinged Miles Davis here. Definitely, I would almost say this is a rock album, but it's definitely jazz too. It is heavy funk with some rock elements. I should say it's a rock album, but oh god, you have Wayne Shorter on here. You have Joe Zonneval, who went on to help form the Weather Report. Chick Corea is on here. Dave Holland plays bass on here. Lenny White, the great drummer. Jack DeJohnette, who was Miles' drummer. John McLaughlin. Bernie Maupin is on here. Just the players on this thing is really cool. So, and there's the back, and Miles ain't fucking around. The Michael Jordan of jazz. He was such a prick to people. Like it wasn't funny. He was just like, with a nice slipcover. Very cool. Yeah. So, Bitches Brew. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good jazz. One box set. I have one more I'll show you later, but this one I actually picked up, and I was thinking about this in my 20s. I was kind of obsessed with this band, and I bought this box set on cassette back then and listened to it quite a bit in the 90s. And they had it there, and it was $15. I was like, I'm getting it. Jefferson Airplane, Loves You. This came out in 1992, and it is a box set of the best works, or compilation works of Jefferson Airplane. Not Jefferson Starship, but Jefferson Airplane. And yes, so there's a closer groovy cover. The back's just got the song tracks on here. Of course, it's got their big hits on here. Nice booklet here. I've been obsessed with fucking goddamn box sets lately. I don't know why I buy them. I don't got the space for them, but I really collect box sets, especially CD box sets. I will collect cassette box sets, but I only have like one. So this has even got some of that stuff from the Great Society. Is that the name of that band that Ray Slick was in? The Great Society, or whatever that society band that Ray Slick was in. This is CD 1. Is this one? It's got all the big hits. Captain Plastic Fantastic Lover. Captain, I don't know, I was thinking White Rabbit. Somebody to Love, Embryonic Journey. I really was kind of obsessed with this band in the 90s. I really was. So this is disc 2. And disc 3 right here. So, of course, this has got We Can Be Together, Good Shepherd. There's some I didn't get on the other one. But yeah, You Wear Your Dress Is Too Short. That song is really cool. So, psychedelic rock greatness. And this band was very artistic and very avant-garde in a way. And could rock out too, Jefferson Airplane, but Look at that, Jefferson Airplane loves you. Yeah, I probably overspent on this, but CD box sets are going for 15, 20, 30 bucks an hour, or 30 bucks an hour, $30 now. So here's the albums from Salty Dog. One more time, I'll let you look at the cover before I stop here. And yeah, so here are these two records I got in the $5 bin. I have both of these, or had both of these, so I know I'm going to sell them again. This is Supertramp, Crime of the Century. What a great record. I mean, right after Breakfast in America, this is perhaps their finest hour. And I'm a big fan of that album they made called Paris, the double live album. I love that record a lot too. But this has got School, Bloody Well Right, Got a Bloody Right to Know, or whatever. The Beautiful Hide in Your Shell is just a gorgeous song. Crime of the Century, of course, Dreamer, Rudy's on here. Rudy's a good song too. And the epic Crime of the Century is good. Progressive rock goodness from 1974 this came out. So a lot of people think, and this is a very clean copy of this, a lot of people think that this is the best thing that Supertramp did. And I had been kind of looking for a copy of this. Look how goofy they look on the back here. One of their members just passed away not that long ago. Was it Rick Davies? Yeah, I think it was Rick Davies. I know Roger Hodgson died not that long ago. This is wonderful, and I'm going to tell you, this is like one of the most coolest things I've gotten there. I bought Malo's first album. This is an absolutely great Latino jazz soul fusion with a little bit of pop in it, and definitely some rock too in it. Of course, this has, I always say of course like you guys know all this. Of course, this picture of the band. This has Jorge Santana, Carlos's brother, in it. And you can hear a little bit of that in that Latino fusion. But they have like one song on here that's worth picking, this worth the price of admission alone. It's a song called Suavecito, which was actually a radio hit for them. But there's also like the song Peace on here is really cool. Just Say Goodbye, the Latin version, or the Latin song Pana on here. Pana is great too. Pana, I don't know, Pana. But great stuff in the early 70s. This is a great record. I have their second one. I think it's called Dos, which is great too. So Malo. Yeah. All right, 2 albums left from Salty Dogs. I didn't buy a lot of albums. I didn't buy a lot of anything there because they're kind of, well, they're not cheap. And this one I just took a chance on. It was in the $20. I was in the punk bin, and I'm kind of a sucker for this. When I saw it was 1986, I was down. This is Veil of Tears with songs from the Bible Belt, band from Kentucky, so they would know all about that. And this is absolutely great. As soon as I saw like on here, I was looking, I saw, well, it was on the independent label. It's from 1986, and there's saxophones. I know I'm going to like this. So automatically I'm thinking X-Ray Specs. And this does have a bit of that fucking 70s punk sound that I love so much. Not proto, just that initial burst punk stuff from the 70s. It does have a little bit of that, and it has a little bit of an indie feel to it, being. I'll let you look at that. That's great. And the back here. And it's got an indie feel to it too. Not indie rock, but indie sort of punkish feel to it too. Or obviously this is, I'll show you the back of this. Pretty weird. Great stuff. This one I was happy to get for $20. Really, really happy to get for $20. I wished it was a little cheaper, but it is what it is. And last thing I picked up from Salty Dog, and guys, you know what? We're probably going to get done really early today because I don't got that much more to show. God, wouldn't that be great if I got under an hour? The Cure, Three Imaginary Boys. The first Cure album, and going back to 1979, reissued into 2024, which Friction Electra were reissuing a lot of the Cure records. Needed this one for my collection. Love this record by The Cure. I got some more Cure coming later, and that's the only thing I'll tell you about that. I can't wait to show you those records, and that'll be coming on a show down the road here. But yeah, this is kind of, I guess, what you would say is their post-punk slash sort of dark wave punkish record. With I think 10:15 Saturday Nights on this one. Fire on Cairo, I think, is on here. Got a really kind of a moodiness, and a lot of people really feel this is the best they did. But the best they did. I mean, kind of dark wave-ish, but not really as much as like fucking I don't know, just a classic early Cure record, and I needed it to have it in my collection forever. It was $27. I just took a blind buy on it. Probably out the door between the two stores, I spent $130-$140 there. All right, so let's get into that's the end of the Salty Dog stuff, and let's get into the records I picked up just from my local record store. I don't got many, so this shouldn't take long. I do got some CDs I will show you, and the first one I actually ordered online because I saw somebody that from Amoeba Records had been talking about this band and had picked up something by them, and it really intrigued me and made me think of, it made me think of like that fucking the era in the 90s when this band came out. And I remember my friend James went and saw this band, and he was talking about like how good they were, and he didn't like classical music. And it's so funny because this band was on Quarter Stick Records, but they are the great, wonderful The Rachels. Yeah, you guys, The Rachels with the handwriting LP. Going back to Quarter Stick Records, I think this was in mid 90s when this came out, maybe early 90s. And definitely it is sort of like, in a way, this band was like Cronus Quartet, where they were kind of had a rock following, but they weren't really rock. It was like orchestral, sort of, more string quartet laden classical music, I believe. I don't think these guys were, I think it was kind of that way, but was done with a none such feel, so it had a little bit of a avant-garde sensibility to it. The Rachels are great. I had this on vinyl, and I had it forever on vinyl and sold it at a record show. I haven't seen anything by this band since, and I was like, talk about obscure 90s bands. The Rachels, they kind of were that. Here's the booklet in here with the word in it. I don't think there's any lyrics in here. No lyrics in here. But kind of cool little booklet. I'm not going to go through all that, but I'll show you the CD real quick. I'm really happy. I got this like dirt cheap. I think it was like $3 plus shipping, so it was about $7 altogether for the Rachels. Which, I mean, their shit is like, it is fucking hard to find. And if you go back to the 90s and you really, like I said, my friend James went and saw these guys live when he was living in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and he had a tie on, and his girl had a dress on. I go, where you guys going? They go, we're going to see the Rachels. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, do you want to go? I'm like, I'm not dressed for it. I don't want to go to that. Really, it didn't sound like something And then I was like, oh yeah, they're really good. I should have went. Like that kind of thing. Well, I don't know if they offered for me to go. I think they did, but I just was like, no, I'm not going to that. No, I'm not going to that. I'm trying to remember if they did or not. I think they did ask me if I wanted to go, or ask me what I think they said, what are you going to do? And I wasn't going to go to that for some reason. It wasn't because I hate that kind of music. It was just because I just wasn't. So the Rachels handwriting LP, 1995 release. This is fucking awesome. This is so cool. 3 CDs, and then I got another CD box set, which I won't spend a lot of time on. Christoph Penderecki, we're going to stay on the classical label. And this is Orchestral Works Volume 1, along with some signature pieces he's done. The Theranuti for the victims of Hiroshima for 52 stringed instruments, which is a classical piece that he's known for. De Natura Sonoris 2 Florensis for Orchestra. So, Polish composer Krzysztof Penderecki. Probably the best way to just really describe him is he's avant-garde. He's an avant-garde classical composer from the 20th century. Some of it's very dissonant and very intense, especially his more personal works when he was talking about war. It is intense, and they use some Penderecki music in the Shining soundtrack. That's probably, if you've heard anything by him, you probably heard it on that soundtrack if you're not familiar with him. One of my favorite classical composers ever. This is on the Naxos label, and I love it. Love it, love it. This was reissued in what, 1998, I think. His symphony, his symphonies are kind of interesting because they're not like that intense war albums that he made before. So kind of absolutely the difference. I'm fucking sweating to death in here. Dig Lazarus Dig. This is Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and I believe I want to say this is the follow-up to Lyra Orpheus / Avatar Blues, which was a great album by him. This has a little bit of a direct rock attack, aka not quite as heavy as like Grinderman, but definitely not backing down from some riffs either. Mixed with some spoken word kind of stuff, weirdness that only Nick Cave. I don't know why I keep saying Henry because of that song Henry by him, the ballad of, the Henry Lee. Yeah, on a bland cover, but the CD's in good shape. Yeah, and if I see Nick Cave, I'm just gonna snag it, and it's the booklet right there. Look at that. Look at that mustache. He means business. With the lyrics in it, kind of cool, and song tracks on the back. Kind of nice little collection. I don't listen to Nick Cave a lot. My brother's a huge fan. I'm just sort of a passing fan of his, and I was just like, screw it, why not? All right, and last thing I picked up, last CD I picked up. I was talking to these old ladies in there, and they were asking me, we're talking about Janice Ian, and she's like, "Oh, this is a good deal for $5." So stupid me got it. It's just Janice Ian, the autobiography collection, and this was released in 2008, right off her autobiography book release that came out. I want to say maybe a year before that. It was within the right around the same time period, and so I wonder if this was like a compendium piece. This was like, oh, you know what? I've been reading that autobiography. There's the autobiography soundtrack, basically, which is not, but there's not soundtracks for books. But if there was, maybe this would be it. This has got one of the more interesting thing on it. It has her very first song on here, a song called "Hair of Spun Gold," which has the original first work tape of Janice's song, plus the song when it was released. Now Janice came back out in like that, I think mid to late 60s, mid 60s maybe. So she had been out for a while, and she had a hit called Society's Child, which was pretty ballsy about a mixed relationship, I believe. And she wrote the song Jessie, which Joan Baez covered on Diamonds and Rust. Stars is another great song by her. Of course, the big hit on here is At 17, which is kind of more her standard song. And I'm trying to think, I always think of her and Phoebe Snow are the same thing. I don't think they are. I think she is singer-songwriter-ish that has jazz elements in her music and folk elements in her music. And I don't think at all she's like soulish, like a soul singer. And I don't think she's quite like Phoebe Snow. I don't know. I mean, there's jazz elements, but I think it's kind of, singer-songwriter introspectiveness kind of stuff here. So, at least on her early records, there might have been a jazz feel to it because she was on Verve on that label. A box set I picked up a few weeks ago, and I got it from Goodwill. The only thing I'll show you from the thrift store. I thought this was really cool. From the Vintage Volts, this is the Count Basie 4 CD set, and this was $4. I'm telling you, I have a weakness for box sets. I mean, I gotta stop. I'm stopping myself now, but I'm telling you, if I see any, I will buy them. I got like probably 20 now, maybe 15, 20 now that I don't really need, but I just keep buying them. They're on these CDs right here, and this is a lot of Count Basie stuff, like St. Louis Boogie is on here, House Rent Boogie, Lester Leaps In, Dickie's Dream, Tickle Toe, Swinging on the Daisy Chain. I don't see Take the A Train. Oh, that's Duke Ellington. I'm not thinking right. Oh, it's got Jumping at the Woodside, which is kind of one of his better known songs. So yeah, these are just on black CDs. Nope. Oh no, green labeled CDs. So yeah, not much to like the packaging. It's like in this, and it's got a little bit of a booklet like this. Direct source vintage volts. I think this stuff was not done. I think the sound is good, but this is not like top notch Rhino. You know, Rhino does a good job with box sets and reissues, but there's Count Basie. Kind of swing jazz stuff, you know. I mean, from going back what to the 40s, huh? 30s, 30s and 40s maybe. Sometimes I get Count Basie and fucking Duke Ellington confused. I don't know why. I don't think they do necessarily the same style of music. But here's the song tracks on the back. I just thought this was really cool for $4 to get this. So Count Basie Vintage Volts. All right, we're getting close to the end, guys, and I'm sweating like a fucking mug in here because I don't have my thing on. So this black mark behind me, there's nothing I can do about it. It's like black mold. I guess they're gonna replace it, but who knows when. These are the albums I've accrued over time at Doug's. I didn't get it. There's not a lot in here, so this shouldn't take long. Candy O, The Cars, follow-up album. I like this album because it has a little bit more of a looseness to it. It doesn't have such a focus, so the band can kind of like weave in and out and do their own thing. This had a lot of hits on it. The Most Dangerous Type, All You Can Do, Candy O, Let's Go, I Love the Nightlife. Great songs on here. It's a good album. I do feel like Ernest Baker kind of like, or not Ernest Baker, Roy Thomas Baker kind of like let back a little bit on the production, so it didn't feel so like processed well for radio. I felt like a band just kind of making their own album, kind of, and it's such a good record for that reason. They all have some of those Cars records have such distinct differences. If I call them the Doors, I meant the Cars. But second album by the Cars, Candy O. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I really don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Alabama's first album, not first album, I should say, probably second or third album. Probably third studio album, I believe. And this was the album that made them a big band. I think they had some success before in the country charts, but they broke through in a big way. And the reason I'm showing this is because I was listening to Billy Corgan talk the other day. I was talking to, and for some reason, Alabama, the band got mentioned, and he said they were a good band. And I couldn't ever imagine Billy Corgan liking Alabama. But it reminded me that I saw this record also a few months ago, and this kid, younger than me, probably in his 20s, had picked it up and kind of looked at it and put it back, and picked it up and looked at it and put it back. And because of his play with that, of like, it just kind of made me think about this band in a way where it's like, have I really ever given this band a real country group a real shot? Probably not really. I mean, they started out as a rock band, so there is somewhat of a kind of basic rock structure to some of the songs, you know, like a pop rock structure to some of the songs that are country. So they hit it right out of the park with this one, which I think is probably their best album. This or what was the follow-up album that has mountain music on it? Too Close for Comfort or something like that. I don't remember the name. I don't know their studio albums that well. But this has Love in the First Degree, which is a great pop country song, and the gorgeous ballad Feel So Right. Another song that should have been big on here is Old Flame, which was a country hit, not a top 40 hit. And I'm Stoned is hilarious. That song on here is really funny. See the Embers, Feel the Flame is a good song on here. Pop country done right. And this is actually early 80s country, I feel like doesn't get a lot of lion's share for love. But like this and Eddie Rabbit and Juice Newton were all, I thought, were really good. You know, well, like some of the songs. And Alabama is a band that I never really had taken seriously as like, and it's not like Billy Corgan telling me is like all of a sudden it's like I'm going to agree, but it's also like it just gave me pause to think about it. Jose Feliciano, Compartments, another record I took a blind buy on. Very much in the vein of like almost like a Van Morrison, pop, soul, rock. And I always think of him as a guitar player. Of course, he did Light My Fire, and his live album, An Evening with Jose Feliciano, is fucking fantastic. It's got some great guitar playing on that. His guitar playing is not front and center here. It's the songwriting, and it's sort of how great his voice is. It really is. This is like pop music, pop with a little bit of soul. It is not what you would think it would be. It's quite good. Songs like Me and Baby Jane, Hey Look at the Sun, Compartments, Yes We Can. There's some good tracks on here. I'm definitely selling it. I say that. I'm definitely selling it, but yeah, whatever. On the Quadrodisc RCA label. So Jose Feliciano, I never showed one of his records on here before, and once again, I'm going for broke with the Alabama and the fucking Bugs Bunny. I don't think I've ever shown any Bugs Bunny. This is with Mel Blanc, and these are, I think, like just new adventures of Bugs Bunny with Getting the Bugs Out, What's Up, Mac Doc, The Carrot Kid, Hunger Pains on the Peter Pan label. This is actually in really good shape, which is unbelievable for Peter Pan label, because their records usually are not in good shape. There's a few scratches, but this is cool. Not novelty record, kids record. I want to say I think this came out in the 70s. It's pretty cool. Think of how many voices Mel Blanc created. Just a genius in the cartoon industry. This one I think I overpaid for. I just got it, and he was sitting there and I was looking at it, and he goes, well, do you want it? I'll give it to you for $5. And I didn't look at this very clearly, and I don't know what I was thinking. I swear this is what happens. I'm done, I'm checked out, and then I'll spend $10, $15 more on shit I don't need. And this was an example of All Night Disco. All Night Disco, that's right. So, this is not by the original artist either, which kind of pisses me off. It's on the Springboard label, and this is by the Studio 79 singers. And but I was suckered into it because they had Star Trek Disco on here, Disco Duck, Star Trek Disco. You can see what's on there on the other side here too. Yeah, fuck. Sun City. Well, it's not a full album, but close enough. United Artists Against Apartheid. I mean, this is cheesy from the 80s. Another one of those We Are the World collaborations. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going for broke today. I'm showing you guys all kinds of cheesy shit. On the Manhattan label. Silver and Gold is great on this. Great. I think Bono sings, Keith Richards and Ron Wood play on it. That is awesome. But as a whole, I think this is cheesy. I'm not going to lie, but, you know, this was Little Steven's idea of getting people together and fighting against apartheid. But I certainly think that has a kind of place someplace. Ohio Players, Greatest Hits. Yeah, this is cool. On the Westbound label, yeah, that's right. She's got a noose. Look how damn sexy she is in a way. God damn it. Ohio funk band from the 70s. They had some big hits. Fire, of course, being a big one. Fire's not on here, but this thing is super clean. And for $5, yeah, that's what I paid for that. And the Sun City were $5. The next one I also got for $5 too. CCR Chronicle. Now this is got some scratches on it, but with a good cleaning on one side. One album is perfect. It's a 2-album set. I think this will work out just fine. So yeah, off the Fantasy label. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of went through that quickly. Yeah, it's just a double album of the greatest hits. Of course, you know, it's got Sweet Hitchhiker and all that stuff. I really don't need to go through this in too much depth. I mean, it's CCR, for God's sakes. Greatest hits. All right, these last two I kind of want to go through quickly. I bought these last three separately. I didn't buy them all together because I couldn't afford it. But this is Serpents of the Light, the 4th studio album by Deicide. And so Deicide stuff is starting to get some reissue. Of course, I think it was Once Upon the Cross. This last year got a Record Store Day release, and now I'm seeing these early albums. Hopefully Legion will be out soon, will be done. This is the beginning where they almost sound kind of grindcore, and they have like different vocals on here. Not my favorite part of Deicide, but the production on here is really good, and the songs on here are still good. Songs like Blame It on God is hilarious. Slave to the Cross, Creature of Habit. There's some good tracks on here. This was well worth picking up. Deicide self-titled album, self-titled debut album. This is kind of more in line with what I like by Deicide, straight up death metal. With a little bit of BDM in it, I think this is a really heavy death metal for its time period, I think. Even though to me, nowadays it doesn't sound as heavy as some other bands I've heard, it's still, for its time period, this is super heavy. And Deicide, I think those first few albums, they could do no wrong. I love Legion. I'm hoping that'll come out. But this has got, Oblivious to Evil, Dead by Dawn is a absolute classic song. Pretty evil sounding. Carnage is the Temple of the Damned is Great Day of Darkness. Just some death metal goodness from the 90s, and Deicide did it well. And last but not least, this is another band whose stuff is being reissued. And this is the first time since 2009 that Rhino Rocktober reissues Mr. Bungle. And this is Disco Volante, their second studio album. And they have I got the first, they have the first one at Jerk Dog Records. I just need to pick up that first one. This one was $35. I knew it was going to be a lot. It's a double album. Bizarre. This album is it's like played at a breakneck speed. It even gets into electronic parts in it. It is fucking weird as Mr. Bungle can be. I mean, I kind of like Mr. Bungle. I almost like them more than Faith No More, but I don't. But I do like them quite a bit. Just bizarre. I don't even know how you describe them. Mathy sort of, novelty sort of goofy, weird rock, alternative rock, I guess. You know, they definitely have metal leanings, and for sure, but they're good. Mr. Bungle's good. So I think Trevor Dunn, who played with John Zorn, was in Mr. Bungle. And that's it. That's all I have for you. I will have an update here with Black Friday coming pretty soon. Coincided with what is going to be crazy because I got another huge haul from England, so that will be coming as well. So I got to cut this short. I got to be in session in like 5 minutes. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you guys. You guys will see another video after Thanksgiving. Bye.